Charles Robert Darwin, otherwise known as Charles Darwin, was a British naturalist and scientist, and was famous for inventing the theory of evolution. Although his theory is widely accepted now, back then it was a harder pill to swallow. So, I will go over Charles Darwin's life and how he came up with the theory of evolution. And I will go over how the general public saw his theory then versus now. Charles Darwin grew up in a wealthy household, and he was raised by his sisters and his father. His mother unfortunately passed away when he was 8. His father often wanted him to study medicine, but he'd do other things like study nature and collect shells, which his father didn't like. He often didn't like school and would forget a lot of the stuff he studied. He often wasn't very social and did not make many friends, but he still did love nature and loved going outside and studying the natural world. Charles Darwin graduated from Cambridge in 1831, now with sideburns. Not soon after, Charles Darwin took a 5-year voyage around the coast of South America, where he would create his theory of evolution. On his voyage, he discovered creatures like the Megatherium, the Glyptodont, and whatever a Gomphotherium is. These discoveries were the things that inspired Charles Darwin's theory, as they resembled modern-day animals. Charles Darwin really got thinking when he got to the Galapagos Islands, where he noticed that the finches had different types of beaks. Because of the finches, Charles Darwin came up with a theory that explained why they had different beaks, and this was the theory of evolution. To sum up his theory briefly, it basically went like this. If an organism has a trait that doesn't benefit them, they die and don't get to pass off their traits to their offspring. But if they have a trait that benefits them in the long run, they do get to pass down their traits, which is how creatures evolve. Charles Darwin worked on his theory in private for a long time to avoid controversy and would eventually release his theory in 1859. Charles Darwin, now married to his cousin Emma, has now released his book, The Origin of Species. The general public was very 50-50 on his book. On the one hand, people like Alfred Russel Wallace, who's actually the person that came up with the idea that animals could change, did support the theory. But on the other hand, people disagreed with it strongly, and most of those people were religious extremists. Lots of arguments happened between people on whether or not his theory was right, and lots of conflict happened because of this. People often mocked Charles Darwin by drawing his face on an ape, making fun of the idea that humans evolved from apes, which Charles Darwin actually did not believe in. He thought they shared a common ancestor, not that we evolved from them. Charles Darwin didn't engage much in the conflict and basically ignored it. This is basically how his life went until he died in 1882. Nowadays, this argument on whether or not the theory of evolution is true or not is not as heavily debated as it is actually commonly accepted. Most scientists base their work on the theory of evolution and hardly doubt it. And while some people still disagree with it, and with some of those people shunning other people who think otherwise, people can at least see another person's point of view. So even if you don't believe in it, you can still respect other people's opinions. This documentary shows that opinions do change over time a lot. So even when things seem radical and crazy, over time, it might start being more commonly accepted.